There have been many advances over the years to help those dealing with forms of blindness. But perhaps the biggest changes ever originally came with the development of a system to read and communicate. Rachel Gilbert tells us more on today's Newsmaker. Rachel.
Thank you, George. The CNIB has many events planned throughout the year to mark Louis Braille's 200th birthday. But in today's Newsmaker, we learn a little more about Braille and its relevance now among technology advances. This is a color identifier. It tells those with vision loss what color their clothes and other objects are.
Like I let it say white 3 times because if it gets any light in it, it won't work.
Very dark blue.
Yep. Yeah.
There have been so many technological advances for those with vision loss, but what about Braille? Is it still widely used, and what's the relevance today among all these new gadgets?
Unfortunately, less than 10% of people across the world know Braille. And I'm going to say it's even like maybe 3 or 4% of people that know Braille.
Marianne Marchand is an independent living specialist at the Canadian National Institute for the Blind. She has all the expensive gadgets you can think of in her office, and yet one of her priorities is to teach more people to read Braille.
Well, Braille's not going to become obsolete for sure, okay, because it's a reading format, okay? And, you know, I wish that Braille would be more people would learn it.
This past weekend marked the 200th birthday of Louis Braille, the man who invented the language in 1829.
So when Louis Braille was about 15 or so, he said this is taking too long, and he wanted to invent a system. And of course he used something similar to a Braille slate and made out the dots. And then people started being able to read faster.
Before advances in technology, especially computers, many people could only use Braille slates to write, and they are still used today to punch out the dots on paper.
It's a Braille slate. It's like your pen and pencil. This I wouldn't be without, because sometimes I don't have a piece of technology with me, okay? Or if the battery doesn't work, this is so small, I could throw it in my purse and I got it.
On her computer, Marchand can listen to what she's doing, but she can also print out in Braille what she's written. And she says the literacy capabilities have really evolved.
You can use a translating program, and a person knowing how to use the program. Remember you saw all those dots on the screen? Well, when you could see that, so you could translate it.
As part of her job, Marchand teaches people to read and write Braille. On this day, she was teaching Rob.
You got a B and an L. Because you see, if you do more than one dot in a space, because each one of these little bars is a cell. If you look at the back, see how they're groups of 6?
Yeah.
Okay, and so every time you do a letter or a symbol, you got to move to the next one.
Okay.
A lot of our people, when they get low vision, they are older. So of course something new takes longer to learn. And I have, you know, people who learn enough Braille to label things. I have people who learned enough Braille to just play cards.
Marchand says technology has enhanced Braille for her, but adds it's still very relevant in today's society and that it will never go away.
I think Braille will be here forever.
Thank you, Rachel. Turning now to your 3-day weather